Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Lipakshi Kurana. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Monday, the 18th of July. Indian lawmakers vote to elect President. Parliament's monsoon session begins. Sri Lanka puts emergency in place ahead of Parliament's vote for new president this week. An ousted Pakistan PM Khan's PTI stuns the ruling PML-N with thumping win in Punjab by polls. And now for all the details. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and lawmakers of the Parliament and the state assemblies cast their votes on Monday to elect the country's next president, likely to be won by Droupadi Murmu, a tribal candidate of the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party. As the crucial monsoon session of the Parliament also began, PM Modi urged lawmakers to hold deep discussions and make the session as productive as possible.
Indian lawmakers, including Prime Minister Narendra Modi, cast their votes to elect the country's 15th president, while the monsoon session of the parliament began on Monday. The president is chosen by over 4,800 elected members of both houses of the parliament and state assemblies across the country. The election is expected to be won by 64-year-old Droupadi Murmu, a tribal woman nominated by PM Modi's ruling BJP, the Bharatiya Janata Party, which holds considerable majority. If elected, Murmu will become the first tribal president and the second female president of India. She has been pitted against opposition's candidate 84-year-old Yashwant Sinha, a former finance minister and a BJP rebel. The counting of votes will take place on July 21 and the new president will take oath on 25th of July. PM Modi in his customary address said, the monsoon session is important as during this period, the new president and vice president will begin guiding the nation. He urged lawmakers to hold deep discussions and make the session as fruitful and productive as possible.
और सदन को हम जितना ज्यादा प्रोडक्टिव बना सके, सदन को जितना ज्यादा फ्रूटफुल बना सके, उसलिए सबका सहयोग हो और सबके प्रयास से ही लोकतंत्र चलता है.
On the first day of the session, lawmakers paid tributes to UAE's President Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan and assassinated Japanese PM Shinzo Abe. During the session that will continue till August 12, the government seeks to push around 32 bills for passage. Both the houses were, however, adjourned early in the day amid disturbances by the opposition over inflation and other issues.
And Sri Lanka's acting President Ranil Wickremesinghe on Monday said that country had almost concluded negotiations with the International Monetary Fund a day after he declared a state of emergency in the island nation in an effort to head off unrest ahead of a vote in Parliament later this week to elect a new president. Streets in capital Colombo remained calm on Monday morning with traffic and pedestrians out on the streets.
Daily life resumed in Sri Lanka's commercial capital of Colombo on Monday morning, a day after acting President Ranil Wickremesinghe gazetted orders for a state of emergency in an effort to head off unrest ahead of a parliamentary vote later this week to elect a new president. Streets in Colombo remained calm on Monday morning, with traffic and pedestrians out on the streets. Outside a local gas station, vehicles, motorbikes and their owners waiting in a long line occupied parts of the road that would lead them to the station under the watchful eye of armed security.
It's going to take us from bad to worse. There is no hope in this country.
Demonstrators camped at a protest site rested near the President's Secretariat. Sri Lanka's beleaguered leaders have imposed a state of emergency several times since April, when public protests took hold against the government's handling of a deepening economic crisis and a persistent shortage of essentials.
From April 9 till now, nearly 3 or 4 times state of emergency has been declared and curfews has been declared. But people came to the struggle. People came to the road and they are saying slogans and they are protesting. They are never scared of this suppress.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa fled to the Maldives and then Singapore last week after hundreds of thousands of anti-government protesters came out onto the streets of Colombo a week ago and occupied his official residence and office. The parliament will vote for a new president on Wednesday.
And in news from Pakistan, Pakistan's opposition PTI party led by former Premier Imran Khan has routed the ruling PML-N by winning the crucial by-elections in Punjab province. Khan, who was ousted in a parliamentary vote in April, said that the only way forward now is to hold free and fair general elections.
Ousted Premier Imran Khan's PTI Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf party has registered an impressive electoral victory in the crucial Punjab Assembly by-polls, dealing a major blow to Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif's PML-N party, while his son Hamza Shehbaz is set to lose his post as Chief Minister. Reports suggest, according to unofficial results, PTI won 15 seats, while PML-N just 4 in the by-polls on 20 seats held on Sunday. The election for the Chief Minister will be held on July 22. PTI-PMLQ joint candidate Chaudhry Parvez Ilahi is likely to be the new Chief Minister of the politically crucial Punjab province. PTI Chairman Imran Khan on Twitter thanked party workers and voters of Punjab for defeating what he called the entire state machinery, especially harassment by police and a totally biased election commission. He said the only way forward from here is to hold fair and free general elections. Senior PTI leader Asad Umar said the imported regime of Shehbaz Sharif is taking its last breath. Meanwhile, PML-N Vice President Maryam Nawaz said the party would accept the results with an open heart and concede to the decision of the masses. The victory in Punjab and recent resignations by some party dissidents has not only posed a serious threat to the Hamza Shehbaz government in Punjab, but also a potential challenge to the Shehbaz Sharif's government in the centre.
Moving on, exiled Pakistani journalist Taha Siddiqui has raised concern over declining press freedom in his home country, blaming the army and intelligence agencies of interfering in the functioning of the media and harassment of journalists and direct censorship. Siddiqui, who fled to France after a kidnapping attempt in 2018, said journalism is dead in Pakistan as he highlighted scribes and activists receive death threats for reporting on crime, corruption and human rights violations by security forces. Pakistan is ranked 9th in Committee to Protect Journalists 2021 Global Impunity Index, which spotlights countries where members of the press are murdered and their killers go free. Activists have highlighted even dissidents living abroad are not safe, alleging role of spy agencies in suspicious deaths of Pakistani journalist Sajid Hussain in Sweden and human rights activist Karima Baloch in Canada.
Freedom of press doesn't really exist. All the media that exist within the country have to operate within certain compromises, otherwise they will be banned, they will be harassed, and every day this sort of silencing of voices intensifies. It is in no way improving. If anything, it is becoming worse.
And a political activist in Pakistan-administered Kashmir has raised concern over frequent power outages in Muzaffarabad city due to the shutdown of Neelum-Jhelum Hydropower project because of cracks in its tail race tunnel. He said the whole region lies in the abyss of load shedding, which is disrupting their daily lives and businesses.
A political activist in Muzaffarabad city of Pakistan-administered Kashmir has raised concern over frequent load shedding in the region due to the shutdown of the 969-megawatt Neelum-Jhelum hydropower project following significant cracks in its trail race tunnel. He lamented that whole region lies in the abyss of power outages, which is disrupting life, businesses and studies of their children. He said the mega power project did not even last for 5 years and alleged corruption in so-called developmental projects in the illegally occupied region.
उसमें क्या गारंटी होगी कि उसका काम सही होगा कि अगर ये 5 साल मुकम्मल होने से पहले ही इसकी एक टनल के में शिगाफ पड़ गया तो क्वाला की जो तामीर होगी उसमें क्या गारंटी होगी कि उसमें कंस्ट्रक्शन तामीर जो भी मियारी होगी उसमें कोई ऐसा मामला नहीं आएगा।
Locals in Pakistan-administered Kashmir accuse that Islamabad has continued to maintain an oppressive attitude and has so far ignored even their basic demands. They blame Pakistan assured them of development, but it has only given them hours of load shedding, lack of drinking water, along with turning the roaring rivers into small rivulets or drains.
Well, in news from Afghanistan, Afghanistan's acting Interior Minister Sirajuddin Haqqani on Sunday visited Khost province, where he asked the international community to recognize the Islamic Emirate. The minister said the Islamic Emirate is ready to start economic and diplomatic relations with the world, while adding that it has proven in practice that Afghanistan's territory has not been used against any country. Foreign governments have not formally recognized the Taliban administration. Many Western officials say it needs to change course on women's rights and deliver an inclusive government to receive recognition, and for the international community to unwind sanctions that are severely hampering the economy. Afghanistan is in a deep economic crisis as billions in central bank reserves have been frozen. Meanwhile, Afghanistan's central bank, the Afghanistan Bank, put on auction $12 million on Sunday as part of efforts to keep the national currency stable, reports suggest. The bidders should deposit the necessary money in cash in national currency, the Afghani, as a guarantee in the central bank before the auction begins. Afghani has been tumbling against foreign currencies, especially the US dollar. And thousands of Hindu devotees across India took holy dips in thronged temples to offer prayers to the Hindu god of destruction, Lord Shiva, on the first Monday of the holy month of Shraavan or Monsoon. The first Monday of Shraavan is considered extremely auspicious by the Hindus.
Thousands of devotees in spiritual capital of India, Varanasi, gathered on the banks of river Ganges and took holy dips and offered prayers to the Hindu god of destruction, Lord Shiva, on the first Monday of the holy month of Shraavan or Monsoon. It is believed that praying to Lord Shiva during the Shraavan would help bring luck and prosperity to everyone. Temples across the country witnessed huge queues as devotees were enthusiastic and excited than before to offer prayers inside the premises after 2-year hiatus due to the pandemic. Priests were seen performing Bhasma Aarti ritual, which involves smearing ashes on the Shivlingam, the phallus representation of Lord Shiva in northern Ujjain city's Mahakaleshwar temple.
हाँ जी, सावन का पहला सोमवार है आज। भस्म आरती के दर्शन करके बहुत अच्छा लगा, बहुत ही अच्छा और बहुत ही यूनिक उत्सव था हमारे लिए और हमें भस्म आरती अटेंड करके बहुत अच्छा लगा।
Meanwhile, with the onset of Shraavan, the streets of Nepal's capital Kathmandu were abuzz with shoppers. Women were seen purchasing beads and bangles and other items for the holy month. In Nepal, married and unmarried females during this month observe fasting on Mondays. The married ones keep fasting for a longer life for their husbands, whereas the unmarried ones pray to Lord Shiva to get a suitable match.
An engineer in India's southern Bengaluru city has been running his car on self-made biofuel to cut down pollution for the last 9 years as rising fuel prices continue to bother the common man.
Avinash Narayan Swamy, who hails from India's southern Karnataka state, runs his car on biodiesel, which constitutes used edible oil to cut down pollution. The chemical engineer with a knack for mechanical engineering sources the biodiesel from cooking oils which would otherwise go to waste, in addition to plant and animal oils.
I wanted to focus on some alternate fuels, eco-friendly fuels. So this concept of biodiesel cropped up after doing a little bit of literature survey. And then I found out that in India, at Hassan in Karnataka, there is a biofuel park which is completely dedicated for the research of biofuels.
The thought of using an alternative fuel which was cost-efficient and gentle on the planet came to Narayan Swamy when he researched biodiesels and visited a park in Bengaluru which was dedicated to the same. India plans to introduce 20% ethanol blending with gasoline in some parts of the country from April next year, followed by a nationwide rollout from 2025-26.
Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now, our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsia Newsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsia Newsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.